Hello and welcome to Dr. Fixmaster. Today we're going to fix a door catch on a 1998 Jeep Cherokee. As you can see, this thing's been opened thousands of times and now it just flops in place. So there's nothing holding the door anymore, because the door catch right here is worn out. Here are the parts. I'm going to replace both the door catch and the bracket. The bracket sits right here. In the hinge, it looks like this. This is a new part. There's a pin that goes in the top of it that just bolts on. This door catch you have to access from the inside of the door. It kind of sticks through like this. It sticks through the door, so you access it from the inside. But that's the mechanism. You just need those parts. There's a pin that goes in here. First trick is to take the door handle off. So this door handle comes straight out, and here's what it looks like after I've removed it. If you look closely, in this door handle plastic piece, there's a groove on both sides of there, and there's a little clip that looks like this, and that thing sits right, let's see, you access it from the other side. So as the door handle sits like this, this clip clips in just like that. It goes right through that slot on the side. So it's kind of tricky to get it out of there, but it's really easy with a piece of cloth. So if you position the door handle like that, you just take a piece of cloth and stick it in between the little foam rubber washer that you see. It sits right up against the door like that. And you get that piece of cloth up in there. You can get it between that washer like this and jiggle it back and forth, and you feel it catch on that thing, and eventually if you put pressure on it on the outside, that will just pop right off. So that took me about 30 seconds, but it wasn't too bad. Keep track of the foam washer, the door clip, and also make sure you don't lose that. It's likely to go flying off somewhere when you first pop that door. So in addition to that, there is a Phillips screw here, a Phillips screw here, and a Phillips screw here. So 3 Phillips screws that are going to need to come out. So let's do that now. Set those down. Should all be out now. So basically the rest of this whole panel, to access the door catch area, this whole panel has to come off. There's a bunch of clips that are around on the inside, and you just pull out on those. Once you get those clips all dislodged, the window seal on the window here, you have to kind of lift up on it. The whole door panel comes up a little bit to clear that seal. So I'm going to pop these first using a bit of a straight edge, and then I'll lift it. I'm going to use this little crowbar thing. It's got a nice flat edge on it. I'm just going to stick that right in here, wherever it'll go in, and try and pry that up. Once I get my fingers under it, I'm just going to use hand pressure to pull up the clips. I think it's very likely that since this is an older vehicle, that some of these plastic clips will probably break. Hopefully there will be enough of them left to hold the door in place, otherwise you need to order replacement clips when you put the panel back on. I'm hearing pieces of plastic falling off as I do this. means these old brittle clips are probably coming off. So lifting up now, just to separate that. Now it's going to be hanging by cables. You can see these cables in here. There are clips right in here. And you can see that you've got a good look at that. Lose my hat. Down in here, you see that this yellow piece, just flip a screwdriver in there and push on it on one side, and that will flip off to my right in that direction, and then that post will just come right out. And do the same thing, except the opposite on the bottom, on the one on the bottom right here. And then I should be able to get this whole panel out of the way. So I'm going to do that now. Just going to push on that with the screwdriver. Take the yellow piece, push on it, get that out of the way. Ugh. Takes quite a bit of force. Okay, I got the yellow one out of the way. Once that one goes, the post pushes down, or the metal part pushes down. Do the same thing on the bottom. It's going to take the screwdriver just to push on it. There, you heard it clip. So it's just going to swing out like this once it breaks loose, and then this whole cable thing, this steel rod, will just pull straight up. Looks like I've still got one connection here. It's the window adjustment, or excuse me, the mirror adjustment is still plugged in. It looks like there's a plug right here. This so you can see it a little better. Alright, you can see that once this panel is separated, I can just pull up on this control for the mirror, and there's a cable connector on the back. You can just squeeze that in, detach it. Sometimes you have to pull out, sometimes you push in. There we go. So that's that. This now becomes separated. We're going to go through the speaker. Speaker coming out. I'm just going to let it hang. It's not going to hurt anything. And it looks like there's some of that plastic and black goopy seal around it, and that's going to give me access to the door catch. That's the part that's going to come out, that gold thing. You get to the, you pull it out this way, but the nuts are on the other side, on the door side. So right there are the bolts that you undo so that you can pull that thing through the door. On this side, all you do is tap right here with a hammer and get that pin up and out of there. That'll come off, and then you take these bolts off right here to get the bracket off, and you're good to go. So there's just 4 bolts here to remove, and then you just pull it through there and access it through the speaker hole to be done. When it was time to move this pin right here, the easiest thing for me to do was to use a hammer like this and just a 1/4 inch socket extension, and to line it up with the end of that pin and then tap on it at the bottom with the hammer, and that just moves that pin right out of there. Makes it easy. Looks like a 10mm socket is what it takes to get this out. Oops. Same thing on the door catch side, 10mm socket to pull both of those bolts out. Get those nuts off. And once those nuts are off, you can just pull this thing right through the speaker hole and put the other one back in the same way. There it is. Successful retrieval. Looks like I lost a few parts in the door on the way out, so I'll have to go fish those out. But there it is. So you can see here what happens when you open and close a door a couple thousand times. These parts are just beat up. There's springs on there that are shot. Everything's loose and just falling apart. Again, this is a 20-year-old vehicle, so this comes as not a huge surprise to me at this point. Okay, there it is, all put back together. Probably the trickiest thing was to get this catch threaded in through the speaker hole. But if you get way down here and look up in this direction with a good light in the door, you have to kind of get on a funny angle so that you can actually see what you're doing. Trying to thread it around in there, it doesn't work very well. You have to almost see it. Thread that through the hole, then tighten those down. Come over here, tighten the bracket, and then once again, it's a little bit tough to position the door and get all the holes lined up so you can drive that pin back in, but just use a 1/4-inch socket extension and just tap it in from the top. That was what I found to be the easiest. Okay, now you can see my door working properly. Got it assembled, it catches properly. It's got a halfway catch point. So it feels, oops, I'm running into stuff on the door. But it feels good. It feels normal. Doesn't make a lot of noise. So I think we're done. Just reverse the process and you're done. Reversing the process now, I'm just going to plug that mirror control back on here and stuff it back into the door. Just like that. Okay, the upper door handle, this hook goes right up there in that hole, just like before. Oops, having a hard time getting an angle on it and working the camera at the same time. Right up in there. Once that's threaded up through that hole, this can close in on this steel rod here. Just push it back in until it snaps in place like that. I've still got to line up the hole, but you get the idea. Okay, that's what the upper one looks like when it's all clipped in place. As soon as that rod gets fed up through that hole, you can just snap that thing back on it. And do the same thing with this side. This comes up here. Oops. This comes up here, threads down through that hole. Just like that. And then the black plastic rotates around down through the hole. Like that, and then this swings around, clips on like that, and then we're ready to push in the door clips. And remember, you have to, because you pulled up on it, to get it through away from this door seal, you have to come back down into it, so that makes it more tricky. If I had 4 hands, I could show you. Alright, this shows the door handle back on. I'm just going to put that little metal clip right on the inside, right in between the fuzzy washer where that first line is, where my finger is. There's a groove on this side and a groove on this side. And that thing is just going to feed right down on top of it. I've got the handle pointed straight down. This clip's going to go right in on it like that. Okay, I've stuck that clip in position, so I'm just going to tap on it with a flathead screwdriver until I hear it snap into place, and that'll keep the handle from coming off.